Hey guys, I'm John Setzler. Welcome back to the Kamado Joe Cooking Channel. Today we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to try something that all of us have possibly run into at one time or another. You've decided you want to cook barbecue like a Boston butt or a brisket, and you have a Boston butt or a brisket, but it's in the freezer, it's frozen solid. What can you do? Well, today I've got a 10-pound Boston butt in the freezer. It's hard as a rock. We're going to pull it out and I'm going to show you what we can do to get that thing going. So let's get started. Okay, here we go. We have a 9.93 pound Boston butt and it's frozen solid. This guy, hard as a rock. So I have run a sink full of cold water. We're going to drop this in here and we're just going to let it sit in the water for an hour or so while we go get our grill fired up. And what I want to do after about a half an hour is come change this water out and run it back with fresh water. So while this is sitting, I'm going to go fire up the grill. Okay, I've got some charcoal. I've got a full box of charcoal here, and I've got a fire starter down in the middle of the pile. So I'm going to light this guy up, and we're going to let it burn here with the lid open for about 10 minutes, just like we always do. Okay, now that we've got our fire started, I've added a couple of chunks of hickory wood here for some smoke, and I'm going to set in my divide and conquer flexible cooking rack here with the heat deflector in the lowest position, and I'm going to set a drip pan in here. I always like to use a drip pan when I'm cooking brisket or Boston butts. So we're going to set this drip pan right in place, and then I'm going to set both halves of our grill rack right on top, and we're going to set up today to cook at about 250 degrees. I'm going to set my lower vent open about an inch or so, and I'm going to close the slider all the way on the top vent. I'm going to leave the daisy wheel all the way open until we get up to about 200 or 225, and then I'll start to close this slider down a little bit, or close the daisy wheel down until we settle in around 250. And I'm going to let this come up over the next hour or so while our Boston butt is still in the sink. So once we've been going for an hour, we'll be back to have a look at that Boston butt. Okay guys, this has been in here for an hour. So I'm going to take it out, I'm going to cut the wrap off of it, and then we're going to start working this meat up. At this stage, if you can go any longer than this, please do, because you'll get better results the longer you can actually thaw the meat. But I think 1 hour is going to be about a minimum to soften up the outside of this meat to allow the rub to adhere to it. So let's get it prepped. Okay, on the back side of this butt, this one's not got a very thick fat cap on it, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to score this rather than cutting it off. And then we're just going to shake on a very liberal coat of whatever type of barbecue rub you might want to use on it. So I'm just going to pat that in, and then we're going to flip it over, and then we're going to get rub all over the rest of this meat. Okay guys, we've been going for right at 2 hours here with the foil loosely tinted over this. So I'm going to pull this off now, and we're going to let this guy continue to cook just like this. I'm going to see if it's thawed out enough where I can get the meat probe in it. It is, but it's still hard. It's still hard as a rock down there in the middle. I don't know if you can see that. That thermometer's reading 28 degrees down there. So, but it's thawed out quickly around the outer side. So we're going to let this cook overnight. and we'll be back to have a look at it in the morning. Okay guys, we've been going for right at 8 hours, and this thing's looking really good so far. The color's looking good. The internal temperature, I just checked, and it's at 155 degrees. So we're running a little behind in the cooking process because, like I said, we started out with a frozen piece of meat. But our bark formation is starting to look pretty good. I'm going to let this go for about another hour or maybe an hour and a half. And then we're going to come back and we're going to wrap this guy in foil to finish this cook. So I'll see you when we get ready to do that. Alright guys, we are 9 hours into this cook. This guy's looking real good. Our internal temperature's up to about 160 degrees. So I'm going to take this off and we're going to put it in some foil. And then we're just going to set it right back on the grill, and we're going to let this cook until it's probe tender. So we'll be back to have a look at this in several hours. I'm thinking maybe 2 or 3 more hours we'll have a look. It won't be ready by then, but we'll be back. Okay guys, we've been going for 12 hours and 45 minutes so far, and this thing is pretty close to being done. It smells wonderful, and it's probing like butter out here on the sides. It's still not quite probe tender in the very middle, and the internal temperature here is up to 195 degrees, and I'm actually pretty surprised that we've gotten to that temperature in this time frame on a 10-pound butt that was frozen when we started out. So I'm going to let this guy probably go for another 30 or 45 minutes, and then we're going to come back and take a look at it, and it should be ready to go. Okay guys, we're done. This guy's ready to come off the grill. It's been on for 13 hours and a half at this point, so it's probing absolutely beautifully all the way through, everywhere I stick it in. So I'm going to take this off. We're going to rest it. I'm going to wrap it back up tightly in this foil, and we're going to rest it for about an hour or so. I'm going to cover it up with a towel, and then we'll be back to tear into it. Okay guys, we've rested this for about an hour here, so I'm just going to take my fork and start tearing into this and pulling it apart and let you have a look at what we've got here. Man, it just looks outstanding. Have a look at that. Man, that looks beautiful. It's even got a nice deep smoke ring on it. Okay guys, let's have a taste. The first thing I'm going to do is taste a little piece of this bark. See what we've got there. That's good. And then a little taste of the meat itself. Okay guys, I'm going to call this successful. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this. I can't really taste anything, taste any texture or consistency differences that I could say would be caused by cooking this butt frozen. It's tender, it's juicy, it's moist, just like I would expect from any other Boston butt. It tastes fantastic. I think maybe we've dispelled a myth. I don't know if it's an actual myth. Not many people ever try to cook a Boston butt, especially one that's frozen solid from the beginning, just like we did on this. So I had a 10-pound butt. We cooked 13 and a half hours, and that was at between 250 degrees for that whole time, and I rested it for an hour, and I'm going to finish pulling that apart, and we're going to vacuum seal it and package it. I'm going to call this a success. So if you ever have an occasion to cook a Boston butt and it's not thawed out completely or not thawed out at all, I think we've just proven that you can do that. So give it a try sometime. Let me know what you think. Join us on Facebook, facebook.com/KamadoJoe. Follow us on Twitter @KamadoJoe. And until next time, this is John Setzler with Kamado Joe Cooking Channel.